welcome back to Testing Normal. This is Curtis.
This is Jordan.
And this is a podcast where we talk about everything and anything. Today we have a very special guest with us. This is Jeff.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Stoked, man. We're very excited to have you here as well. And Jordan and Jeff kind of know each other from past days. You used to go to the different church, is that right?
Yeah, we went to different church, and we had a lot of mutual friends in
It's
Washington
true.
that we didn't know.
Yes, yeah.
We shared with
growing up. And
growing up with not
crazy.
not super far from each other.
Yeah.
Although he's 10 years younger than me, but
That's true.
yeah. So Curtis ran a contest or a question or something. Some
Yeah.
people were a little confused by it, that they had to pick from the 4 people in the picture.
Right.
And
Right. So yeah.
Then when they started questioning me, I was like, I don't know, maybe that is the rules. I didn't know who most of those people were except for Abe Lincoln.
Yeah. So I did not mean to have like referencing those specific 4 people on the Instagram post or who you have to say were the most annoying or could have been the most annoying social influencers today.
Right.
I just meant to show a bunch of historical faces.
Yeah.
But a lot of people
pasted on a random
stock photo
Yes.
images. And anyway, so people thought I meant that specific picture of historical figures, and the only one anybody recognized was Abraham Lincoln because nobody knows their history, including myself.
Yeah. Did you know?
Including
Me too,
myself.
yeah.
Did you know who the other 3 people were?
I only knew one.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But anyways, we meant to do it as a question like anyone you can think of.
Yeah, anyone can think of. So wait. Before because you did pick one that
Yeah.
someone had said.
Yeah.
Well, like off the top of your head, Jeff, who do you think would be the most annoying historical figure?
Friedrich Nietzsche. Like, nothing matters.
Nietzsche, dude. Dude, I love that. It's a great choice. Interesting.
Do you think that like Hitler would have been similar to Trump?
Probably. I mean,
they both have major insecurities, it appears.
Yeah.
Um,
I could see them writing very similar tweets.
gosh.
I'm not liking it.
Right. I mean, you're saying like, would Hitler be a very like verbose
Yeah.
tweeter in like maybe inappropriate ways, like Trump kind of is? And yeah, totally, I could see. But also, he seemed a little shy too.
I was gonna say Hitler also seemed more like reserved.
Yeah,
Like he probably would have had more of a filter.
maybe.
Okay, so that's a little weird. to
That's
say.
an ironic thought.
I know.
like Hitler goes into a room and people are talking trash. He's like, whoa. Don't talk about it. Do it. Just don't talk about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
You
most
can
Germans.
kill him. I don't care. Don't talk about it. That's crosses the line, man.
Most
You
Germans
put
didn't know
that on
about the
Twitter?
concentration camps. Like that
That's
was
true. He kept it.
Yeah, he kept it under lock and key.
Oh, that's a good point. That's true.
Also
So-
double meaning.
Double
Lock
meaning.
and key.
Lock and key.
Lock and key,
Ooh. Yeah.
E.
Yeah.
So we're what? 3 minutes in, and we've already lost everybody.
So
No. Okay. So
sorry.
the my
They're
favorite.
all yelling at their
about
TVs
being
and
pissed
everything.
about-
Like, oh my gosh! 3 seconds in,
We got lost Donald Trump supporters.
yeah, like,
Historical.
he's
figures.
like who? Yeah. Okay, let's all be really
Um,
honest. Trump's kind of annoying on social media, although he is probably the only reason that I looked at Twitter, like, for a little while.
Yeah.
That is true.
So, they have him to thank
So
for that.
a reminder, if anybody didn't see the question that we posted, we said, which historical figure would be the most obnoxious Instagram influencer?
Specifically Instagram.
Sure.
So we have to see pictures of them.
I might
Yeah.
recant my
Yeah.
previous statement.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the winner in my book was an anonymous commenter, and they picked Alexander Hamilton. And I was like, that is so good. Okay, first of all, because one is like everybody is like all up in their, I don't know what they're up in, but they're pretty stoked on
Right.
Alexander Hamilton because of the play right
Yes,
now,
yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like so infatuated by this character that what was his name, the actor in it? Oh,
I'm not good with names. I have no idea.
Starts with an A, I think.
Is it
Are you talking
Alexander?
about the writer or
The director,
yeah?
and he was also in Mary Poppins recently.
Are we talking about the guy who directed Maui as well? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
All the information in the world at our fingertips,
Hilarious.
and we're sitting here trying to figure it out.
So, anyways, Alexander Hamilton, and because they talked about, well, it's annoying because he publicly published his mistress's letters
Oh.
because he wanted
dang, son.
to disprove rumors about him.
Oh. So just full on chucked him under the bus.
Yeah, he checked. Yeah, his mistress. So not his wife, but his mistress. Her letters.
So like we have laws against that now because
Yeah,
people
so
will,
that's like,
post like
what's it called?
Libel.
Revenge porn.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Libel. Revenge
He
porn.
goes
Libel.
Just like, oh, you went a little bit deeper with that.
Well, that's
oh, wow.
well, that's a term I'm not familiar with.
What is this porn?
What is that silly word?
Revenger.
Does it have to do with popcorn? What? I don't know. I do not know.
I definitely had a kid that I knew refer to it as poopinography because he had no idea what I was talking about.
So he saw some really weird back alley stuff.
No.
I was talking about how I was just talking about some stuff with a group of boys, and one of them had brought up pornography, and this other kid had never heard of it before, and he's like,
So he tried to repeat the word.
poopinography.
Yeah, so he tried to like repeat a question about it.
Yeah,
But he had never heard the word, so he
so
just
funny.
That's
So
hilarious. So actually, talking about Alexander Hamilton, though, I was talking with one of our other friends, David.
Yeah.
And he also is like not a fan of Alexander Hamilton at
Really?
all. Yeah,
that
not
doesn't
at
shock
all.
me. It doesn't-
But some of the other annoying things that Alexander Hamilton did, he always got in fights. Like he would always get into like, not always, but he frequently get into pistol fights, like
Yes,
dueling,
yeah.
dueling fights.
Now, okay, so that might be interesting on Instagram. It's like, hey, we're going live here with my my next pistol fight. Hang on, I get the angle right.
That's hilarious. So Alexander also famously went bankrupt.
Famously.
Well, it was a well-known fact in the time that he
Okay.
went bankrupt, I guess. But he did it to pay for his lavish lifestyle. So
Oh.
like today's, Instagram influencers,
Yeah.
have yourself a pimped out ride, and you think that, basically that's going to help with getting followers. Yeah, basically he would have posted constantly, I think, and done
Yeah.
really obnoxious things about his crazy life and his rich friends. And
I can't think of anyone, though, even him included, that would be more obnoxious than some of the obnoxious Instagram people out there now. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you're like,
Truth.
like seriously, Instagram model, that's a thing.
yeah,
And-
That is a
Yeah,
it's a
true.
weird path.
Yes. Yeah. And that's annoying. Like that in and of itself is obnoxious. So
yeah, it's very obnoxious.
we actually got an email.
Yeah,
We started this off because we did a whole 31-day crazy challenge, and even thinking about doing another one right now seems like a really just not a fun thing. But anyway, we got an email from James, and it goes like this: "Hello, good sirs." I like that introduction.
I love that. Very,
Yeah.
very refined.
Classic.
That's ma'am to you.
That is ma'am.
Ma'am.
Referencing our last episode. That is ma'am.
It's ma'am. Excuse me, it's ma'am. I'm currently halfway through your second episode. Hey, look at that. So are we. And no, third episode. And I've just had an idea for a 30-day challenge. A few years ago, I found a TED Talk on a topic of memory palaces after watching an episode of Sherlock. I like that he liked Sherlock so much that he went looking to figure out how he could be Sherlock.
It's very respectable.
Yeah.
Well done, James.
Yeah, well done, James. I won't explain too much since you can watch the video, but it's essentially a technique for memorizing huge amounts of information. My proposal is that the two of you and Josh, that's my brother, if he wants to, practice this technique for 1 month, and at the end, maybe even on a podcast, put your memories to the test with a competition. It could be memorizing random numbers, shuffled decks of cards, grid coordinates, like that he's military, grid coordinates or whatever you come up with. I think this would be cool because while it is achievable by anyone who's determined enough, it certainly isn't normal, and we do like that. Hopefully, y'all like it and have a good time with it. I love that idea. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think it's
It sounds painful, like in a completely different way.
Okay, so the interesting thing is to think, how could this get out of control? Like, is there so with the physical challenge, obviously we were able to significantly get out of control.
Yes.
Spend 5
Really
hours a
fast.
day. Yeah, spend 5 hours a day. So I'm thinking
while we didn't know we were out of control.
Right.
Like we
yeah.
didn't know for 2 weeks
Yeah.
that we were insane.
Yeah, we were really, really, really hurting ourselves.
Oops.
And our family relationships.
Yeah. We recovered.
But what could be the risky parts to this mental challenge? I guess would be essentially how much time we're spending practicing this. Maybe, I guess. But
Strain. Can you strain a lobe?
a lobe.
Well, maybe
Sorry, wait. It's called a stroke.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
and that's quite a strain. Actually,
So your last episode was
Takes-
really weird. Yeah.
takes a while for your
you
muscles
guys
to recover
kept
from
talking
that,
about toast.
or a seizure,
So weird.
stroke or seizure, whichever one.
Yeah. What do you smell? Do you smell aluminum right now?
Do you guys see the angels floating? Is that just me? I don't know. But yeah, that sounds like a really good challenge. It sounds really fun. We'd have to really have a good way of measuring who,
Yeah.
and agree. Because the other thing would be like if one person had an upper hand already going into the competition.
True.
Like if someone's already practiced this
Mm-hmm.
method of retaining specific information, or if the test was geared towards one individual, like like I suck at writing. My writing skills aren't that in depth. So if like whoever
do
writes
too,
the best
so
essay by the end of the
we're
month.
even there.
Okay.
The only type of brain stuff that I've done was testing out it's called dual in-back, and it's where you like memorize the last thing that was done. So you would memorize the event that took place before the one you just saw and have to repeat it, and then it will go back like 2 or 3. It's
Sounds
like
really hard.
it does actually feel like you're hurting yourself in your head.
So that is a really good idea. I love it, James.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to consider that, and we may do that in the future, or we may do that next. I don't know.
Yeah, and I did respond to him and say this is something that we'd talked about doing
Yeah.
something like this,
Yeah.
but never to this detail. And I do want to go watch this video. I haven't gone and watched it yet. So
So a couple other ideas that we're rolling around right now
Ooh.
are okay. I kind of like the idea, and this would be very physically unhealthy.
Awesome.
But it would
I'm
be
in.
great. Awesome, loving it, loving it.
So far, so good. It checks all the boxes.
But what we would do is it'd be a very short challenge. So it would be, and we could lead up to it and prepare for it. But it would be who could stay awake the longest would be one of them.
Ooh.
So and it would be without use of any type of stimulants.
Okay.
No caffeine.
So we'd have to go without
no
caffeine
Ritalin,
again.
no Ritalin, no Adderall.
I'm done with it.
no, really, no cocaine.
No
Yeah.
cocaine, no cocaine, no. So that would be a crazy challenge, and I foresee. I don't know, but I think I know I've done 24 hours before.
Oh, I've done it.
Yes.
Easy. I've done
Um,
48.
I don't know if I've done 48, and I think if you got to 72,
That's when you want to have your memory challenge.
well, we would have to
Is at the 72 hour
memory
mark.
challenge. Oh my crap. Yeah, I would just be out of it for so long. I think the recovery time from spending
Yes.
72 hours awake would be at least 2 days
Oh,
after.
Yes.
easy.
Yeah. So it would be tricky because we would have to find a time where you had.
That's a commitment.
I had that
like a
much time
week.
off. Yeah. A week would be great. A minimum of 5 days probably.
Yeah.
So
What if you made it way further than you suspected you could?
I don't think I would.
I'm pretty sure people start hallucinating at like 72 hours straight
Is it?
awake. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Something like
so.
that.
Yeah. I don't think I'm strong enough. Like I just know.
The contest has not started,
I know.
and Curtis already bowed out.
I know for that specific subject. I think I'm like.
And this was
Shit,
your
I
idea too.
It was my idea.
Yeah.
Well, what if you qualified it with something like watching every single Marvel movie from start to
Like
wherever?
something that lulled you to sleep.
Yeah,
almost.
something that and you
Ooh.
couldn't leave. You could use the restroom, but
Interesting. Oh my gosh.
something
you
like
get a
that
blood clot sitting there for so long. Maybe
on a treadmill.
On a treadmill.
There you go.
That's a physical component, a mental component, a test at the end. So basically, you're like literally killing your. How can we not take this too far? Well, let's see here.
Yeah.
That's how we don't take it too far.
Yeah, the treadmill really pushed it over
Yeah.
the edge.
Just to keep you moving.
Okay. The other 2 or 3 ideas was who could in
A week?
or in a week or a month, who could eat the most calories.
Mm.
The highest caloric intake, which certainly would not be healthy either, or
It couldn't be a month.
no, yeah, well, no,
No.
You would have to do like 48 hours.
Because just remember, when we went to the last contest, we thought 31 days. I can do anything
31
for 31
days is the longest. Well, January was the longest month I've ever experienced in my life,
Yes,
by far.
I would agree. The first 13, 14 days were the longest month of my life.
Yeah, it was atrocious.
Yeah.
Okay, so another idea that I was thinking about rolling around was doing. So we talked about who can invest the most money.
Okay.
In a short period of time.
Not the most money.
Well,
Take
sorry, who can invest the same? We all would invest the same amount, but then
$5 or whatever.
yeah, $5, $100, and then at the end, that one may be better to do it for a month.
Yeah. You wouldn't do that for a week.
And then at the end of the month, who could turn that 100 into the most?
I like that.
Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting, for sure.
Because it's like, well, if you're bold enough, you can just put it in a stock. That's your choice, Or you could try to trade up, or
Play bigger or better through.
Ooh, like eBay?
yeah. Yeah, and see, that's where you guys would do way better than me, I think, because I'm not even confident if I have an eBay account. Like, I think I remember in college
It's
one
okay.
time
It's,
using
it's
it.
almost out of style. You don't even need one.
Yeah, it's all Amazon
this
for me,
point,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Kind of like MySpace.
It is.
Yeah.
Even Craigslist is
Except
more
there's
popular.
still accounts that are open there.
Yeah, that's
My
true.
dad is an avid eBayer.
I know,
that's
but
it's
not.
it's definitely.
That's what I'm saying. It's not MySpace though.
Yes,
like if
that's
anyone
true.
tries to go log into MySpace,
I have no idea what.
I don't even know. Like
Yeah, I did in high school, I guess.
I wasn't able to
MySpace?
have one in high school.
Really?
Yeah, my parents told me
Wow.
no.
Wow.
Yeah.
the thing was, it was so different than it is today.
Yeah.
It was much. You had to actually go to someone's page to see what they were saying. You had to be proactive instead of just like
Which I
Mark
like.
Zuckerberg telling you what.
I
to
kind of
do.
like that. I think that's a better
It
arrangement.
didn't work very well. Clearly.
I guess Mark beat him.
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
beat him. That's
Yeah,
true.
Zuckerberg's like, I got a better idea than this.
That's true.
So one thing I do have to admit to is, I was wrong about the whole Derrick Lewis picture.
Yeah, you were.
Very wrong, like 100% wrong. I got very curious. I scrolled back through his Instagram, which is interesting, and it was him. He posted the picture. He does look different though, and one thing we discussed is I've really only seen the guy with a mouth guard in, and he looks
Oh
it,
yeah.
like totally changes
yeah,
your
that's
face.
true.
Because I think I said in it, he's bigger. Like he looks. That picture is not him because it's slimmer, which would make sense because his whole face
Yeah.
would be wider. Anyway, Derek, if you listen,
Yeah,
to
Derrick
our
Lewis
podcast-
is a also known
Sorry.
as the Black Mamba. He's a professional MMA fighter in the UFC,
Yeah.
and Jordan mistook him. There was a white man sitting in this auditorium, and Jordan was like, "Is that Derrick Lewis?" Oh, very skinny.
Yeah, he was way skinny, not the white
I
guy.
just said he was a white guy. You're like, yeah.
No. But what I did find out is, so that was posted in 2016. He's making fun of the redheaded kid
Oh, is
in
he?
the picture
Oh, that's funny.
because some redheaded kid had just come in and shot up a movie theater like the prior month, and he's like just
"Look
taking
out."
my pictures and making friends with this guy just in case he goes nuts on me.
Oh, no way.
So he's making fun of the white guy in the picture.
Oh, funny.
So, but it's like out of context because it's 2 years ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah. So
Dude.
anyway, I'm a racist apparently.
Have you
But
guys heard about Hawaii?
Ooh,
And
yes,
I've
this
heard of
is-
Hawaii.
No.
Yes.
This is
The-
crazy.
They have a new bill has recently passed, or no, not passed. Sorry.
I'm gonna pull this up.
Yeah,
You-
it's
you keep talking. I have
they're
to
trying
find it.
to make it, I think, happen by 2024, and they're trying to make it illegal for anyone under the age of 100 to purchase cigarettes.
Very interesting.
Under 100.
Under 100.
They're like,
So now is it just to purchase them, or is it to also use them? Is it to purchase or to use them under 100?
it's to purchase them.
Okay.
Can you imagine being like a 50-year-old person standing outside of a store wanting a cigarette and finding someone that comes in a walker? They're like, "Hey, do you think maybe you could just?
Yeah, you would.
Do you think you could? Because they're gonna card me. But if you go in there,
Hey, Grandpa.
they'll totally sell 'em. Like that. That would happen.
It's
Yeah.
like that new movie, The Mule, with
Oh,
what's his face.
Holy shit! Have you seen?
I've not seen the movie.
You know
That's
how
what you're
old he looks? We're talking about Clint Eastwood,
Yes,
right?
Clint Eastwood. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood has a new movie out called The Mule.
Yes.
He looks really old.
He looks like
He aged like
super old.
overnight.
He looks like Skeletor.
He was
He looks.
hanging in there for a long time.
Is he 100?
I don't think so.
He's old. I think he's like 80 something.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he was.
If they change this law, like I will legit say to people like that person looks old enough to buy cigarettes in Hawaii.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
That could be a thing. Now
So-
they do stagger it. They've said that they would stagger it over
right. It
a
would like
period
the
of time.
ages would be increasing over a period of time.
And it's because I think it was if in the article it says, but it's $100 million that they bring in annually.
The article's on CNN. By
in
the way.
tax. Yeah, it's on CNN.
Yeah.
This banner kept
I
popping
wonder
up recently.
if it just seems surprising to me because Hawaii of all states
by
seems,
2024.
seems like such a chill, open kind of like you do you.
Well,
kind of
so
state.
this does not limit vaping. It doesn't. It's not tobacco.
Yeah.
It's actual like fire starting cigarettes.
Are they worried about like the
Very
littering
interesting.
aspect of the cigarettes?
I don't.
Because I don't know why they would ban one but not the other.
It was 3-4 days ago that I read it, but it was like people were talking about how they're like, well, when they get to a certain age, they'll be fine. They're not gonna. I think it's like a health thing mostly.
Well, after 100,
I mean, why not just try and eradicate them?
Well-
If that's the goal, not
So-
the people. Obviously.
no.
this
That's what
cigarette-
you're saying, though, Jeff. I get it. So
No,
you're saying
the people.
if they're
Definitely
like,
the
listen,
people.
we don't want 100 years olds, so let them smoke the cigarettes. Come on, give them the cigarettes, put them out. Come on.
Wait, so
That's hilarious.
We're gonna
So
expedite
that's
their
the plan. The
cancer.
plan isn't to save young people; it's to get rid of old people.
it could be anything. It's kind of
That's
it's
so funny.
definitely weird. But you know how they have parties like you're turning 21, we're gonna go bar hopping or whatever. It's like, hey, triple digits.
Triple digits.
We're gonna go visit the smoke shops.
Cigarettes.
You just
Get
broke
them
your hip last
Marlboro.
week.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna help your hip a lot? Marlboro Red. Come on, let's go get you some.
Let's go get smoked.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's definitely a bizarre approach, I would say.
That
But
is super bizarre.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not a giant fan of regulation. That one,
Oh my gosh,
I
yeah.
give it the chance of that going through like less than 1%. But it's funny that someone proposed it.
Yeah. No,
And 100. Like
and
you
100.
could've-
The randomness of that.
They're
that
like,
numbing too.
what's a big number you think nobody's gonna get to? 100. Let's make it
Dude,
that.
Talking about getting rid of people. On that note,
This is gonna be.
So good.
Woo.
On-
We talked about the episode that we would offend all parties, and we just didn't realize it was gonna be 3.
yeah. So, not even kidding though. Will you select that one for me? I don't know why you won't do it. In China,
Oh, man.
I don't know if either of you have heard much about this. The re-education camps that are taking place right now.
No.
What?
Okay.
Have you heard about them?
No, I have heard from the fact that you told me this was an article
Okay.
that you wanted to bring
So,
up.
in China right now, in like the northwestern province of China, kind of getting closer to India, but actually like north of India, obviously.
Yeah.
China has now built these massive, massive complexes. That there's these map photos you can get on this article that Jordan's going to pull up. It's from the Independent, and there's these photos that they've taken, satellite photos, not map
You
photos.
sure this is
Satellite photos. It might be the other article that has the maps in it. This probably is.
okay?
But basically, they are taking hundreds of thousands of these local people in this province of northwestern China, and they're taking them to these re-education camps because they're all Muslim. And
Interesting.
China is super threatened by the concept of this Muslim religion because China basically, is like anti-religion to the core, essentially.
Yeah.
And so as a way of preemptively striking against these Muslim populations that are growing, they're taking these people from their local land and they're bringing them to these huge centers where basically like they're there for years and years, and they have no privileges. They can't get lawyers. They can't do anything along those lines. And a lot of these journalists recently have been trying to get to this place to see these huge concentration camps. And anytime someone gets close enough, they always get surrounded by these armed vehicles, motorcades, and are like getting escorted away from there.
That's crazy.
So it's like right freaking now we have like essentially concentration camps taking place right now.
Is
This
this
is
the
nuts.
maps you're talking about?
Yeah. So yeah, if
It's
you
like-
scroll down, it shows to 2015. Oh no, go the other way. Go the other way. Go down. No, the other way.
Up, down, sideways.
Do you
Yep.
mean up?
There you go. It should show. Maybe it doesn't on that one, but there's a part of it on that article you can see like
So that's 2015, 2018.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's fading between the two.
okay.
It's just showing up weird on the iPad.
Yeah.
We'll have the link in the show notes, so people can go
So
look at it if they want.
yeah, but there's
Here's 2018 as seen on Google Earth.
yeah. So these people are
Oh,
Holy.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Right now we're seeing
Yeah.
online these photos of these giant complexes that are being built
Going
to
up.
host these Muslims.
Wow.
So this is from the Independent in the UK, and it says
We'll have the article.
authorities
as
in the Xinjiang region have confirmed that tens of even hundreds of thousands of Muslims have been placed in these camps recently. One estimate put it at almost 1 million or more.
Wow.
It's
It's kids, people.
no, it's just it's kids and it's adults that are from. I'm trying to get the exact name of the people group.
So are they people that are migrating in, or are they people who are converted to
Islam?
To Islam in China, and they're trying to.
Well, like this was their like. It's not that they were converted to Islam. Like they were just. That's what they grew up as.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to.
And their government doesn't like it.
Right.
Well, and I mean, I don't know history that well, but I'm sure that they would have done the same things with huge amounts of Christians converting as well.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not just
Well, it's
necessarily
similar
targeted.
to what the movie Silence was.
Yes.
based
Yeah.
on.
Well, that was Japan.
That was Japan, right? But it
But
was
yeah.
same idea. Like,
Same
Yeah.
idea.
good movie, by the way.
But isn't
was
that
a good
insane to think like right now in today's current age, it seems like such a far off thought to think of people like hundreds of thousands of people being thrown into these concentration camps, even like in World War II. But today, like this is like
Jeez,
legitimately happening
Yeah.
right now in one of the most developed countries in the world,
Right.
or basically one of the most up and coming
Right.
developed countries in the
Yeah,
world. And the amount of publicity for it is compared to the amount that we see about Kim Kardashian is like
Mhm.
nothing. Like
Right.
this is barely getting covered at all, and this is
Well, it's what we talked
and
about.
these-
Like, we live in this bubble.
such a
And-
bubble.
Well, I mean, we have access to a ton of information, but at the same time, the way that we consume that content might not be.
It's so quick.
Yeah, well, it's so quick, but it might not be what we want to think about or look at
Yeah.
either, and so
Yeah.
we might actively put it to the back of our head, even if we saw something like that.
Right. Well, we don't see that stuff firsthand, so we don't get, the gravity of what
Yeah,
that thing is.
I mean that's a city the size of Portland.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
one thing to say like people are being, kidnapped and brought and put into these places, and we can see that and go, that's a really bad thing. But
Yeah.
when it's different when it's someone you know.
So
Yeah.
the province is called the Xinjiang province in China, and the people are called ethnic Uyghurs, Uighurs.
The people that they're taking. Are the
Yeah,
people.
these are the people that they're taking.
Wow.
And it's a ton of articles lately from the BBC, New York Times, and it says Turkey right now is flipping out because obviously Turkey has one of the highest, I think their main religion is Muslim or Islam.
Yeah,
Right.
Islam. But yeah, they're like, there's a big battle going on right now between Turkey and China to saying they're threatening them, saying you better end these mass detention of Muslims that's going on right now. So it's a geopolitical issue for sure. It's
Yeah.
crazy, out of the normal to
yeah, for sure.
Well, it's wild too. Is like you and I look at a lot of the same info streams these days,
yeah.
and that you asked me about that today, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that? Like if a city over from us, there's
Yeah.
100,000 people. Well, actually, interesting concept there. There is kind of 100,000 people locked up. We have a huge prison that's right next. That's
Yeah.
like a city or two away from us,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of incarceration that should be, expunged. I think as far as like
Yeah.
low violence crime or war on drugs, people are locked up over there for
Yep.
sure. That should
Yep.
not be.
Yeah. For something small like maybe
Yeah.
possession or something like that.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But
Yeah, it's one that's a little bit fitting. We both had the same. We both linked to the same article. No, I sent it to you. That our own Ron Wyden
oh my gosh, yeah,
presenting a bill
this is crazy.
to essentially like boiled down. It's not to federally legalize, but it's removing all the state's hindrances on that and banking and all that.
There'd be no federal penalties, I guess, right?
Right.
But still,
So there's no
it's-
seature or forfeiture, but states can still decide. They
Yeah.
kind of seemed like it
Yeah.
left that open.
states make their own decision,
Uh-huh.
which I like that. I think that's a
Yeah, it's
better way
kinda-
to run
it's
government.
what's there now. It's just like defining more closely and allowing the businesses to actually operate. Because like right
Right.
now, like Oregon is. What's funny is it is coming out of the state that we live in, and this guy is like, hey, this is Oregon's leading the charge, and he's right. Like a lot, like our
I thought
laws.
it'd be Colorado.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
Washington.
but our laws are even a lot more lax than even there, even though they were the first ones to go. Like
Yeah.
Oregon does have a lot of looser things around that. And there are some companies that do operate and have banking, but they have to work with a like state funded
Bank.
person.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So state insured, maybe not FDIC insured.
Right. So usually
Yeah.
they can't go to, a mainstream bank, but they can do like a smaller like credit union or
Yeah.
something. Some credit unions will work with them, but it's like a heavy hit, and there's a ton of stuff that they can't write off, and they are still legitimate businesses regardless if you agree with them or
Right.
not. But it's just interesting that from our own state, like he's like, hey
Sponsoring it.
guys, we should.
Yeah. I don't think it's a surprise.
No.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
Oregon typically is probably one of the most prolific, expanding the common social norms
Right.
in a lot of ways.
We push.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So that's not uncommon, I don't think, for unexpected, I would say.
No.
Also in Oregon, they are actually pushing for legalization for medicinal purposes of shrooms.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, shrooms. For a lot of they're shown a lot of studies that actually have helped with PTSD and
was that shrooms though, or was that?
I
psilocybin.
heard something about LSD recently. I
Was
couldn't.
it?
I could probably
so
find an
so
article.
actually
or something.
interesting. Yeah.
But what's the term it's not LSD they use for it.
psilocybin or
I thought it started with a D.
psilocybin.
So one of them started like with D. Or
Oh, DMT.
DMT. Yeah.
DMT
Whoa.
is
Jeez.
that's a different substance.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
DMT is a it's like it is a psychedelic.
'Kay.
But no, that I have not seen any. The only DMT is like the kind of like the psychoactive component in ayahuasca. So ayahuasca rituals that people use, a lot of Native
They
Americans.
fly over and hear some of these bigger guys. talk
Yeah,
about
they
it.
use it as like these rituals for entering the spiritual realm. But DMT is kind of the thing that'll take you into another galaxy, basically. So
Like if you were a spaceman drinking a beer, looking at the Earth.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But no, I haven't seen any research as far as using those for medicinal purposes. But
Okay.
so LSD, yes, you're
Yes.
right. They have
It shows how much I know.
started using microdosing, I think, for
Yes.
certain stabilizing, I think, some bipolar conditions that they're looking into.
Which
yeah.
didn't we do that like years back? Like they used it for
LSD.
Yeah.
They actually, I think, in like the 60s,
Yeah.
I believe, and maybe leading into the 70s, had some use of for
Yeah.
it. But then I don't know if it ever actually got federally approved. And then there was the whole, psychedelic run that the government basically tried to stop because they were threatened by big pharma, I think, in some ways.
Right.
But so MDMA, that's the one that they're going to start using for depression
That
as
is
well.
what I've heard of.
And that's like basically that's kind of like ecstasy, except it doesn't have the amphetamine
Yeah.
component to it. So it has more of the euphoric / mood enhancing kind of component to it. But I think that's also in, I don't know exactly what stage of trials, but I think that's maybe I heard like the third stage of trials in some.
So just to really clarify, you're mentioning trials like
research, medical
well,
research.
so
trials.
far you've seemed very, very educated in this area, and I don't want to give anyone like the wrong picture about you.
Oh, I don't care.
But you read about a lot of that stuff and,
Yeah.
and keep up on trials
Yeah.
and where they're at, and we've had those discussions long
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, no, it's very.
Here.
I think it's silly to exclude possible benefits of things that you don't understand.
Right.
So looking into a lot of different areas is super helpful to
Yeah.
whether it's medicinal, whether it's these tests that we do.
Yeah.
Especially when the
Let's not do one of those.
the prescription drugs that we use nowadays have so many bad side effects.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's. It's so funny because in the 90s, I think it was pretty sure the early 90s, the U.S. government really started pushing for pain control, and they were saying it's very important. They added it to the vital signs of a person, and then they.
How do you even quantify that?
Well, you say 0 to 10. How bad are you hurt right now?
Golly, yeah.
Yeah, that's like
I
I'm
love
at a
it.
10 right now. I'm hurting
My
so
favorite
bad.
is-
while you're on your iPhone.
Like what's
and
a 10
giggling.
though? That's I've had
10
this
is supposed to be the worst pain you've ever experienced in your life.
I'm creative. Like that could be. I
Right,
could be
know,
like.
it's a terrible.
I could be in extreme
measuring
pain and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not.
It's caused it's caused more hardship than it has benefit, I think.
Oh yeah.
My wife the other night had we've cut out cheese from our diet, and we
bold move.
Yeah, it was. I've found that I'm partly lactose, but we in another move we put some cheddar cheese in a meal, and she was up until 2 a.m. experiencing quote unquote the worst pain of her life.
Oh no.
And it's not like we subscribed her painkillers or anything for a gas bubble due to cheddar cheese.
Due to cheddar cheese.
Except it was quote unquote the worst pain she's ever experienced.
On a scale of 1 to cheddar cheese bubbles.
Oh, yeah. Okay, babe. How bad is your is this a cheddar cheese situation? Is that what we're at right now?
Code cheddar.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Some of that stuff you go off for a while and you go back on it. I've been there.
Oh, it's
like, oh my goodness.
Annie and my wife and I, we went off of dairy for 7 years.
Whoa.
So in college, we got really terrible gas and bubbly tummy. And dude, actually, that reminds me. So when we weren't that comfortable with each other yet, we had just started, dating, and we were we'd go on these long car rides, and every now and then one of us would just randomly have a window we would roll down, and neither of us would admit to the fact that either I just totally busted ass, or she did, and neither of us were like sure if it was one or the other, or we weren't confident like looking at each other and saying it. So like it'd always be this awkward like the window rolled down. Oh, I know what's happening.
There's the two of you. There's only two of you.
I know, but you guys. Okay, you're telling me you've smelt something and you weren't sure if it was yours. You've always known if it was yours.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been in that situation. This reminds me of a Family Guy episode. And it's like, Peter, you're a really bad liar, and it shows him in an elevator with a random person, and he's like, and he looks at him and goes, "You did it." Like, no, I've not been in that situation before.
I've questioned my essence before. I've questioned it.
It doesn't just leak out of me. I tend to push it out when I feel a gas bubble coming, so I know.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I've just been so relaxed, and I've just been like,
man, been so relaxed, my anus just opened itself.
That is a whole new level of zen.
If I'm
that you have reached.
If I'm distracted, sometimes I'll be like, man, babe, I don't know if was that me? Was that you, babe?
What's that you?
And it's easy for her to be like, no, that was you. Because I'm like, well, I don't know. Was it me?
That's why you get a dog. You just blame it on the dog.
Yes, I know. Yeah, well, we have kids, so that works.
That makes it.
That works too.
That works, but they're in a different room, so we're like, wow.
They're just really
smell bad today.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah. Oh. So, going off of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like jump ship into this whole. Is it Jeff Bezos?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're talking about his penis right now.
Drama going on with
Jeff
Bezos.
But yes,
drama going on with the richest man in the world.
So this guy, he's owns a giant company.
Amazon.
Everyone orders things on Amazon. We would love an Amazon sponsorship.
Yeah.
But we discovered the other day that inadvertently we sponsor Amazon. So
hosting and all that kind of stuff.
This week, I was reading this, I was like, is this a joke? Like, I had to go and find like other links to make sure.
Wait, what did he do? Yeah.
So he accuses the National Inquirerer of extortion and blackmail.
Yeah.
And reveals the emails that they sent to him with the descriptions of the pictures that they had.
But they were threatening him, right?
They were. But he does that. Then in it, so this is the brave part. He's like, and I think Trump put him up to it. Like, and so I was like, okay, so that's, everyone's blaming Trump. Like, there's got to be something to that. So I look, and no joke, Trump did actually threaten him.
Yes.
Because he owns, is it the Washington Post?
How did he threaten him?
He, on Twitter, of all places.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Let's see if I can find the link to it.
Trump threatened him on Twitter.
Yeah, pull it off for a second. Off of there, too, because I'm going to go to our notes. I'll have to find it. But so he tweets out and doesn't call him Jeff Bezos. He calls him Jeff Bozo. On Twitter. It says Trump. On Twitter, accusing him of having like a faulty newspaper, and maybe they'll put someone else better in charge. And this was like weeks ago. So he's saying, okay, so then I was blackmailing with this stuff. Now, mind you, the pictures they've gotten would only be on a phone. It wasn't like anything that he like half-heartedly sent to anyone or anything that I
Yep.
could tell. And they were like, we attained them legally. And he's like, I don't think so. I don't think you did. But not only do I think that you
That's
broke the law,
funny.
I think Trump put you up to it.
Boom! Look at it. Did he
That's
just
crazy.
drop the mic? Is that what happened?
He should have.
He should have just dropped the mic. So I was expecting you to say like he also put a picture of his wiener on there or something as well.
No.
Like he's like, oh, you think you can threaten me? You think you can threaten me? I have $100 billion. Who am I afraid of? Look at this.
Yeah, yeah.
Boom.
Here's the splotch that's on the left side.
Here's a Mel
Here you
enhancement does from Amazon. Listen, you can buy this for $17.99.
Here's the affiliate
2-day
link.
expedited shipping coming your way, man.
Yeah. In some cities, you can get it in an hour.
Yeah.
I think SNL's kind of been on this for the last little while. Do you guys watch SNL at all?
I do watch clips. I never. I don't think I've ever sat down.
I can never commit to a show.
It's like my wife and I. It's our Saturday night thing.
That's
right
so cool.
At 8:30, we just sit
I
down and
love
watch it. Yeah. So this last Saturday, they were making fun of that whole thing, and they were talking about like how he was exposing this extortion, and they load the image to the top part of his head, and he's like, yeah, we have to load the rest now, and it just shows the rest of his face. But Steve Carell was the host months ago, and I believe Amazon bought property for their headquarters that's close,
right,
close to the whatever it's called
in New York.
Yes,
right, yeah.
The Trump Tower.
Yes, and so that was this whole
We'll get
thing
it between
of,
the three of us.
Yeah,
Yeah. Our forces
between the three
combined.
of us. They, so the Steve Carell was playing Jeff Bezos and making fun of how he was going to move as close to Trump as he could to keep an eye on him. I could have gone to all these other places that were cheaper, blah blah blah. So yeah, I think this has kind of been going on this feud. Has been going on for quite a while.
In the background, kind of these little quid for quo kind of little.
So here's the actual Trump tweet. So sorry to hear the news about Jeff Bezos being taken down by a competitor whose reporting I understand is far more accurate than the reporting in his lobbyist newspaper, the Amazon Washington Post. Hopefully the paper will soon be placed in better and more responsible hands.
That's
so he's saying the
golden.
Inquirer is better.
That's golden. That's so
This
funny.
is the age we live in. The social media. I don't think there is anyone that could be more annoying than the people that we currently have in social media.
Well, they grew up in it too. I
Right.
think
True.
That's true.
if other
That's
people,
very
some
true.
of these
Yeah,
historical
obviously.
figures grew up in it, they would be far more annoying.
Yeah, right, exactly. If you just dropped them into it right now, then that wouldn't obviously.
Right, but
How do I use this thing?
I guess my argument is they have some stiff competition
Yeah.
going right
yeah,
now. Like this time we live in is
It's crazy.
It's fantastic.
It's bizarre.
So speaking of social media too, this is another one that I wanted to bring up, is the argument for, and I don't know who this was that was making this argument. I have it up now. It's under unpopular opinion. I think someone just posted it on Reddit, and I actually like this idea.
I love Reddit.
I do too. I just started using it this week.
Yeah,
Really?
Which is insane.
He had never been on it.
It's the best
I'm a
place.
grown man.
I'm a grown
and I
ass
have
man.
never even heard. I've heard of Reddit, but I never got to the point where I was like, I really should look at it.
Oh, it's
It just
so
seemed
good.
like too it wasn't simple enough. But
yeah, I never used it a lot.
oh,
some stuff
ladies
I
and
got
gentlemen, if you want a way to get wrapped up in a wormhole, comfy cozy, and shot through space, you guys need to partake in Reddit.
Yeah, you
It's
just hit
so
that
good.
little
There's
popular
so
arrow button,
many
and it's like all these
fascinating
people are
articles.
bananas, and I am going to read about all of them.
And I'm going deep.
But
in
it
this.
is a good way to see
So good.
what actually is trending at least within a group of people.
Yeah,
But
and you can go to topics. You can go to political.
so some of them are really
science.
interesting because some of them we could have a whole episode that just talks about people's random future ideas.
Right.
Yes.
Some of them are actually very creative. So this one is arguing for a dislike button on Facebook.
I love that.
I do too. And
love
it's funny
that.
because every other platform pretty much has it. In
Yes.
fact, what's funny is in the same week we had the Super Bowl did their whole.
Well, Instagram doesn't.
Well, the Super Bowl got so many dislikes
They kind of do though. You
Do they?
can
that they've
mean,
been saying they're pulling
unlike a
down.
photo or whatever.
Yeah, you can unlike it, but you can't.
But you,
Dislike it.
that's the
You
same
can't,
thing with that'd be the same as
broken
Facebook
heart.
though. Like Facebook, you could like it, but you
And
could
then-
unlike it.
But
Yeah.
you could also. But so that's the thing is that's what this is saying is hey, the argument would be. Well, you can use the angry face, but that could also mean oh, I don't agree with this article. I'm with you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a
But
good point.
the point is people can just post anything and they don't get real time feedback that they're just a ding dong.
Yeah.
I don't like you or the things that you're saying, and
Right.
drop them a thumbs
Right.
down.
Yeah.
To learn, you can do it on a YouTube video. You can do it wherever, which is funny because now YouTube is saying we might remove those buttons. We might remove the dislike one.
That's fascinating because they just had the most disliked. YouTube itself made
Yes.
the most disliked video in all of history.
Yes, that's why. I'm
Yes.
sure. That's a great
And then
point.
they were being accused of removing dislikes from the Super
Yes.
Bowl video and stuff
And-
like
well,
that.
okay, Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about this?
No,
So I don't know if anybody out there listens to Joe Rogan. I've heard a couple of his episodes.
just a couple.
Just kidding. I listen to them every single day.
Just like 1 or 1,000.
1 or 1,000. But really interesting. He had on recently the CEO of Twitter.
Yeah.
And it was a big controversy because Joe Rogan is frequently known for calling out people on controversial aspects of their life or just really kind of delving deep into kind of the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
And Twitter CEO, they were saying, well, you didn't really ask him hard enough questions. Like, you didn't ask him why they're...
Have you listened to that one?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't listened to all of it.
So they're like... they're giving Joe Rogan a hard time because they're saying, well, you didn't really ask him about all these controversial people that they're banning
Yeah.
for saying certain social statements that really are not equal. Like, so they would allow some people to make a social statement or use not appropriate gender identification or something like
Yeah.
that, and then they would kick other people off for doing the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a big controversy. Anyways, going back to
the dislike button.
the dislike button. Joe Rogan on that same podcast, he posted it to YouTube, and they were talking about how there's a ton of comments of people criticizing it, and YouTube took those comments off.
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
him.
and he's like, guys, I'm not doing it.
Guys, I did not do that. And it was like YouTube, I think it was Twitter was saying, yo, help me out. We're getting a lot of bad PR to YouTube, and YouTube's like, we got you, boo.
I believe that happened on a recent. I think it was Blizzard.
You coming
that
over
did
later?
that
We're
as
going to
well.
hang out?
Oh, really?
It was a video game that
Does it say
they
that?
had announced for mobile, and everybody. I think it was Blizzard. It was a video game publishing company.
Blizzard makes mobile games?
They
They
was
would be
like,
awesome at that.
I don't know if it was Blizzard. I'll have to look it up, and I'll send you guys the
Yeah, sure.
stuff, the
Absolutely.
information. But essentially, same thing was happening. Huge dislike because everybody wants a different type of update. The whole community wanted a different type of update, and all of these dislikes were being removed.
Why couldn't they do this for Halo 5?
Crazy.
Say that again.
Why couldn't they do this for Halo 5 when they wouldn't give us split screen?
Dude, it's a travesty.
Anyway.
And what it is. But yeah, no, I guess YouTube's an interesting platform these days.
No kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
you and I have had long discussions about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. It's like the one.
Yeah.
But I'd welcome another one.
But Reddit, back to Reddit. Reddit does have a dislike button and a thumbs down.
Oh, absolutely.
Down vote.
And they also have like ways you can like pay. Well, okay. the toilet, the turd in a toilet. Is that what you?
What was it?
It's well, so they, Reddit has silver,
And I cannot
gold,
unsee it now.
gold and platinum. And there was a joke I saw someday.
Oh, yeah, like you can subscribe. You have to pay, right?
Yes,
yeah,
you
you
can
pay
pay.
and you give them.
What do you get for paying? I don't understand that yet.
You
nothing.
get the
It's
ability
just
to
like-
give them a medal for that they did so well.
Like the person that made a comment?
Yes. So you
So
can
they can, like,
pay to give them
To
like
give them a comment.
yes, essentially.
What is this world turning into?
I don't
That's
know.
absurd.
It's like a like button that's better, and they've convinced people to pay money for
What
it.
is
But-
happening?
But one of them looks like a little toilet with a turd in it, and it's supposed to be like an S for silver.
Yes.
But once you hear that, you cannot unsee it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
I sent something to you the other day, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's the turd in a toilet one," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Go look at it." Once I saw it,
Turd
I
in a
couldn't
toilet.
unsee it. And I was like, I saw it, and I'm
That's
like,
funny.
shoot.
Speaking of a toilet,
nice.
interesting
Gas toilet.
interesting thought was, okay, I have talked to a couple friends. I have this good friend Jake, and I've talked with him, and I think he actually experiences this as well. But do you guys, when you
I'm so afraid.
when you
This is
I have
so good.
no idea what's
Okay,
about to be asked.
when you dream, do you guys ever dream about peeing?
Yes.
So I would say that I have something called aphantasia. I don't dream very often.
Really?
Like hardly ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
So, well, let me enlighten you. So, I will, if I drink too much before
It's
I
like
go to
real
bed,
life, but way more unclear.
But maybe it is real life. Maybe that is real life, and this is the dream.
True.
Oh,
Well,
Twister.
I wouldn't know.
Twister, you would know. You're not alive. You're a figment of my imagination.
I'm just a robot. I get
Oh my
booted up
God.
in your
Oh my
imagination.
gosh. So frequently, like if I drink too much water before I go to bed, I will dream that I have to go pee, and then in my dream I'll get out of bed or whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
The activity I'm at, probably I don't know what I'm doing, playing, and I'll walk to the toilet and I'll start peeing, and I'll be like, oh, okay, this feels good, and I'm like, wait, why am I still peeing? Oh, I still feel like I have to pee. It's a nightmare because I'm peeing, but nothing feels better. Why is this not working? I can't get rid of my pee. And I just start swirling all over the place. No. But I'm trying really hard to get this urine out, and it doesn't happen. And then finally, I'll wake up, and I really, really have to go pee, and then take care of business.
So what's the actual question? Or is it just a story?
No, I was wondering if that actually happened to you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But interesting thought about that is peeing in your dream and actually wetting yourself.
I did that as a kid and peed my bed.
And actually wetting yourself.
I was going in the
peeing
toilet.
in your dream and then actually wetting yourself is actually a dream come true.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Fascinating.
Right? I thought I needed to...
I was like, where are we going with this? Yes, it is. That's like, I had this dream as a kid, and I got like this amazing toy that I'd always wanted, and then I woke up.
Wait. Oh, I thought you said an amazing toilet you always
wanted.
No.
Yeah, it was just really...
Gold.
When I was a kid, there was this toilet I always wanted. You know the
Diamond
bidet.
plated.
You know the bidet.
Oh, man. Those, I kid you not, in some countries, those are called shitafas.
Shitafas.
Yes, and it's hilarious because it sounds like shit getting off. Yeah.
What language would that be?
We were in
Sounds like
in
Asian.
Jordan, the country of Jordan, when it was told me that was called a shitafa. So they could have been yanking my chain, but I've always gone around telling people it was called a shitafa.
Ooh, wow, interesting. Jordan, what were you doing in Jordan?
We were there.
It's a personal question.
We were helping out some people who. Yeah,
that took me way too long.
Took me way too long to get to. I was like in different gears. We're not going to talk about this here.
What were you doing in Jordan?
I was helping some people. Yeah, no, there's some people over there that teach English, and we were just over there providing childcare and kind of giving them a vacation for a little bit. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you get into like the whole like geopolitical discussion there much?
This was at the very beginning of the Syrian crisis.
Okay.
So like there still were millions of Syrians in Amman when we went there. And so we did get a little bit into the geopolitical, and some of the American workers there were helping provide relief at the time.
Gotcha.
But it had just crested. It was not really a big deal.
Okay,
yet.
gotcha.
So
is Jordan pretty hostile? Because Jordan isn't it? Shows my ignorance. Is it right above Israel?
It's right next to Israel. So like on the backside of Israel, yeah.
Okay, so Jordan is just east of Israel.
Yes.
And then Syria
is north.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. So the northern border of Jordan is the Syrian border.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Syria and Jordan, did they have a good relationship, those two countries?
That's a good question. I don't know if they did or not. I know that the U.S. has a very positive relationship with Jordan.
Okay.
Which was, so it was very easy to get in. There was no hiccups.
Did you have to have a visa or anything?
I mean, we were just there for a week, so we just kind of
flew in.
Yeah, flew in. We were on vacation, that kind of thing.
They accepted the passport. It wasn't like an issue or anything like that.
We actually were in Jordan, and we went to Egypt to a resort to have our vacation with them and watch their kids.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Cool! Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That is really cool. Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm always curious. That's like the most complex geopolitical situation in that area. Obviously, with Israel and Libya and all these crazy happenings. Not Libya in particular, but all these countries around there. A lot of crazy stuff
because when we were in Jordan, there was a bombing that happened in Egypt. And yet that would have been like saying, like here in like Portland, it would have been like saying something happened in Redmond or Arizona.
Yeah.
Something far enough away or even like there was that school shooting here in Oregon.
Yeah.
It would have been like that. Like that didn't, it affected us and it was close enough that but we weren't in any danger.
Right.
And so that's another thing that is so fascinating over there.
Yeah, you think like because it's a bombing, everyone would be, but it's so normal.
But we think here, like in the U.S., sometimes, like if something happened in Israel, we're like, that must have freaked everybody out in the entire region.
Yeah, no, and it would be just like, it upset me because it happened. Where did that happen in Oregon? It was a couple of years ago. It happened at a community college, the shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, where was that?
Or even the stuff Bundy on the other side with like that would have been another thing that we could have talked about, or I could have used as an example.
Yeah.
Like, it affects us,
Yeah.
Right.
but it
The
also is
standoff.
like, it happened over there.
Right. Yeah. The
So-
militia standoff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Southern,
it's fascinating.
Southern Oregon.
And it was Eastern.
Southeastern.
Eastern.
Just straight up Eastern, not Southeast.
It was pretty
Somewhere over
Eastern.
there.
Yeah, because it was, wasn't it? It was.
No, it was closer
past
to
Burns, wasn't
Klamath Falls, wasn't it? I don't know.
Somewhere over there.
They've done
Well,
it.
I mean, that shows.
That same family has done that in multiple places. Like, there's a whole podcast
Yes.
going into the details about that. It is fascinating. So
That is really interesting.
yeah,
I mean, but that shows even here, like the
difference.
the difference
Yeah.
of like it happened over there. We don't even know the details.
Did when you were in Jordan, did the subject ever come up of like do the Jordan people have a negative relationship with Israel, like every other country it seems like surrounding there?
It seemed very neutral.
Okay.
And I mean, we didn't go into too much because we were. I mean, they're watching their kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it seemed kind of neutral. I did know that if you went into other countries in the area, so like if people, because Jordan also borders Iran, so if you were in Jordan and you had gone into Iran, which nobody's able to do, you
Right.
couldn't make it into Israel either.
Oh, because they would have been like, you went and saw some sketchy dudes. We're not
Yes.
letting you in here now.
Same thing with Israel. If you had Israel on your passport, I don't think you were able to go into Iran.
Oh,
So it's like
interesting.
very like they sit this. I mean, that would be like saying California isn't able
Yeah.
to go into Washington, and
Right.
Washington isn't able to go to California. So
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
That's crazy.
Ooh.
yeah, geopolitical stuff. It's
Yeah.
odd.
So here's a science one. If
Ooh,
you guys
go
can
on.
ponder for a second. Yeah. Yeah, we'll jump away from political for a second. Magnetic north. Do we all know what that is?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, why don't you explain it in a little more detail, though?
So like true north, like straight up and down, doesn't ever change. But
Mhm.
the pole of the Earth that actually will move the
Yes.
compass
There you go.
is different, and it's moving.
It's wobbling.
But now it is moving at a faster rate than it ever has.
Whoa.
In 2000, it moved 9 miles, and now it's been moving at a rate of 34 miles a year.
Interesting.
And they've shown so it doesn't affect a lot of us that have, phones and GPS and all that kind of stuff. But when you talk about people that are like in the North Pole and they're having to navigate around and all that kind of stuff, 34 miles is a big difference once you get really close to that spot.
Because they're using like an actual manual compass.
Right, but even they're like, this is actually reaching levels that's kind of starting to scare us a little bit,
Interesting.
which is interesting because it made me originally think of it's like what was that? The Day After Tomorrow.
Yes.
That's what happened is the poles reversed. Like they moved around like that, and then all of a sudden, whoop, and then all the temperatures changed on the Earth, and it created this giant ice age and all that kind of stuff. But
Doesn't that happen every couple thousand years? Like
I wasn't around back then, so
Well, no, but I do think
Yeah.
I've heard
I couldn't
articles
reference
or
it or anything. But
videos where they say like it's a normal phenomenon for
I
it
wasn't
to-
aware that it was moving by 9 miles originally, but 34 seems like
Like, okay, is it increasing? Was it saying
It's-
it increased by it used to
it's-
increase by
it's-
9 miles every year?
that was what normal was in 2000
Okay.
or 2009,
Okay.
and this last year it moved 34 miles.
Okay, so what are the possible negative ramifications of the poles flipping? So obviously the magnetic poles and just the magnetosphere or whatever helps to prevent a lot of, I know, different radiation and
Mhm.
solar flares and a lot of things that could cause a lot of harm. But other than, I mean, we're not necessarily losing the poles; they're just moving in location. So there's a weather aspect to it, from what I understand.
Yeah, I would think so.
According to what is the movie called? Day After Tomorrow.
Day
Yeah.
According
All of
to
our
my
science.
my deep research
Deep
from
research
the Day After
into
Tomorrow,
the Day
there's
After Tomorrow.
cataclysmic weather changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's maybe some with ocean currents, maybe
I mean, it would also migration patterns and stuff like that. It would-
migration patterns. Great,
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good
that's a
point.
good one.
Birds
These
just
birds,
like take off the other
it's like,
direction.
where are we going?
Like was here last
It
time.
was here last time.
Yeah. No, I just find it fascinating. I didn't go into like a lot of. It's just like, whoa, that seems like a considerable amount of distance. I didn't even know
Yeah.
it moved 9 miles, but to think that it moved 34 miles, and they show like you can go and if you go look at the article, it shows a map of where it's been,
Interesting.
where
Oh,
the-
that's cool.
where the pole has landed over the years, and it's like all over the place. Like it's really confused.
Hmm.
So it's just to me it was just fascinating. But
That is fascinating.
yeah, I don't know. I know it would be bad should we lose those or have them flip.
Well, I mean, it would change a lot of things. But if it's I would want to know if it's a natural phenomenon or not. Because if it's natural,
yeah, I don't know.
You know, maybe it could, heaven forbid, it cause like an extinction level event. But like, who knows?
Yeah.
You know.
If you want to see something really funny, I do have some funny links in there that we could jump to.
Yeah, I want to show you. This is crazy. He's talking about moving and flying around. I want to show how crazy this was. So,
Elon.
Yeah, this is about Elon Musk, and it shows how much.
Are you gonna make it full screen?
Yeah, go for it. Okay. So it shows how much Elon Musk flew in 2018. That might be
There we go.
So this is a video we're watching right now, and it uses the pinball music to show.
Oh, there's all the places he went.
Yeah, these are all in 2018. How much he's flown.
Oh my gosh.
So far he's flown. In May he flew up to 70,000 in May altogether.
Wow.
See that counter on the top right?
Yeah.
This is just July.
What? This is just
So
July?
it's showing Elon Musk's jet
I
literally
didn't see the
flying
month. Oh
all
my
over the
gosh.
world. Like up and down, left and right, up, down, all the way. Frequently, his most common locations are Northern California, Southern California,
High score.
and Nevada, and then Washington.
So
every time you hear that bell ring, that's Elon Musk flying to a new location.
That was
my
nuts.
Isn't that
gosh.
insane?
I don't even know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Did he just sleep on a plane the whole year?
But I mean, like, it's such like for most people.
Yeah.
For most people, it's such like an expensive and like kind of special thing to go flying somewhere,
Right.
and to take your family or whatever. But this dude's flying, hundreds of thousands of miles.
That's crazy.
In his own private jet. It's just like, golly, the different mindset and lifestyle that is to have no limits to where you can go when you want to go somewhere. Like, that's a pretty cool concept.
Yes.
Well, and I'm assuming like at least the highest percentage of those were for business oriented ventures, like,
and none of them were to Mars.
And none of them
Yeah.
were Mars.
But like, that's a crazy concept to think about, how like for our kids, the idea of them having the freedom to go to Safeway or to be able to drive down the street to Ross or to be able to go anywhere. That's what his flying is to us.
Yeah.
Probably even less.
Or even less. Like we, probably even less. Like the amount that it costs us to drive our car to Ross is less than the amount that it costs him, as far as percentage wise, or
Oh, that's a wild.
In contrast, that's an amazing.
Start walking more.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys hear this? Neil deGrasse Tyson, he talked about trying to recognize how much wealth Bill Gates had.
No.
He's like,
he's really smart though, so I'm imagining.
So if I was walking down the street and I saw a quarter, and that's probably the lowest percentage, the lowest valued money that I usually would stop to pick up. A dime, I usually wouldn't pick it up.
It's too small.
And a penny, certainly not a penny. What about you, Jeff?
I would.
You would? A penny?
That's just my parents. They always used to throw coins out so that we'd go pick them up.
Oh, so it's like
you've been trained.
There's an emotional connection.
Do they also blow a whistle?
Okay.
Or ring a bell?
Yeah.
All the time, actually.
Yeah.
I start salivating.
So for it to be of the same value for Bill Gates to stop and pick it up as it was for me to be a quarter, it would be over $50,000 that he would have to be on the ground for it to be worth his time to bend over.
He'd still pick it up
and pick up $50,000.
$50,000.
So a dime to me I would pick up a penny probably before a dime. Dimes they're so thin they just stick to the ground.
Wait. So because of the difficulty, it's what equates to whether you would pick an item up off the ground.
Yeah.
So it's $100 bill that's just super sticky on the ground. You're like,
I would do well, but
it's sticky. It's sticky. I don't want to pick that up.
It depends, man.
It depends on what the stickiness is.
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends because I saw an episode of Jackass where they put the $100 bill on the ground and the guy'd like wipe
Isn't
his
it like
butt
poop
with
on
it.
it or something? Yeah.
And so people would pick it up and be like, they'd go put it in their pocket and then they'd film them and laugh at them. It's like, so I guess after seeing that, I question any high dollar amounts of money laying on the ground. Like, I'm gonna look around.
I'm gonna be
first.
careful. I'm gonna grab
Look
some
for candid
tweezers. I'm gonna grab some
camera.
tweezers real quick here.
Yeah.
I got a relevant story. My aunt had a dog who ate a paycheck envelope that had I don't know if it was like $100 or a couple $100, but the dog ate the whole thing. And so my aunt is like fishing through the dog's poop for the next week, like grabbing all of the bills and stuff, and then putting them in a plastic bag and taking them to the bank. And like, can I exchange this?
Did it
Oh
work?
my gosh.
Yes.
No.
I mean, it's just smelly. Well, the bills actually came through whole.
Whole?
Yeah. The dog didn't digest them.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
Oh, that's
crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened?
Oh,
You hit stop.
we're back.
Are we?
No.
No,
When did you hit
I
stop?
don't know. I noticed that it dropped off the screen, so I was wondering why. So we're trying to see what's going on with our stream right now. We've got an issue that's come up with
Well,
it.
it's not recording right now. It was a second ago. Something happened.
Did your GoPro die?
Yeah, I saw that it looked like it would stop. So I'm like, what? What's going on?
Oh wait, I'll bet it did. But it was just a second.
Actually, I think Jordan, we are recording still.
No, we're not.
No.
Okay, we are.
Audio, not video.
Yeah, we got audio still. Sorry guys, we got some technical difficulties we're handling here.
It's like ED except
will-
it's TD.
Yeah. We will get this fixed in a second.
Jordan's got to go massage the GoPro, make it work again.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was thinking about it. Oh man. So the Jordan was bringing up the other day, talking about something interesting. Talking about the
Hi back.
in restrooms. I don't know if you heard about this, Jeff. In restrooms,
I have not.
they're starting to change the color of the lights in the restrooms to be blue light, because it, especially like in gas stations, they're starting to do this
Yeah.
in other locations where there's a high population of people using them maybe for illicit purposes, such as
Okay.
injecting themselves with heroin.
Such as, hypothetically.
Such as. And what they're doing is they're changing the bathroom lighting to blue, so that way when they look, they can't find their veins.
It makes it nearly impossible to find the veins.
Interesting.
It makes it far more difficult to see any type of shadowing on their arms. So
Yeah.
it helps with, and still you could feel for a vein.
Well, and vein would be
but-
blue, so it would just blend everything in too. So even
if it's
could
really
see it.
superficial, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's like a really kind of interesting concept of like that's a way of helping somebody, making it more difficult for them.
Yeah.
To basically blind them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
where their veins are.
You should think about what you're doing.
But I wonder how many
And in
people.
order to make that happen, we're going to change the color of the
Okay,
room.
but I wonder how messy those bathrooms are, because it's like,
Ugh.
man, if I'm peeing in a blue bathroom, I don't know, is
Well,
your
I think
aim
I
going to
think
be
it was-
off?
I think it was timed, like it did it at night or something like that, because it was like old. You go into a gas
Okay,
station on
yeah.
I-5 or whatever, and it's 3 a.m. and they've got a bathroom in the back room, and you just
Yeah.
like really got to go and not dream about peeing, but actually pee. Then you go in. That's where it would be.
Okay.
So it's like somewhere that it's like very. It wouldn't be like at a truck stop or something that's like.
That's
not
what
a
I
lot of
was
people all the time.
under the understanding. I was under the
So,
impression it was going to be at
but-
truck stops.
No, this is like it was like small convenience stores. and
Oh,
stuff,
okay.
off the beaten path. In
Gotcha.
the middle of the
That's
night,
still
there'd
a
be timer.
fascinating.
Isn't that interesting?
idea.
It is
Yeah.
a fascinating idea. There was there was another like bathroom ideas, like they had one that the lights won't turn off, like, and if a person's in there for a certain amount of time, an alarm goes off, so that way people don't like take up residence and sleep in there. So if they try to, it's just like it
Okay.
just starts blaring,
Dude,
waking them up.
I saw a cool bathroom where
You could see out.
they
As
can implement
opposed
this.
to a
Yeah,
warm
the
bathroom?
whole I wouldn't mind a warm, comfy bathroom over a cold bathroom, but all of the sides were see-through.
Yeah, like two-way. They're one-way mirrors.
So when they turn the light on, then all the walls go opaque. Like you can't see into them, or they go like,
Oh no,
Gray.
this is different than I saw.
yeah. So it's sweet. So like if you turn it on, they go completely gray. But when you turn it off,
You can
then
see
you can
it.
see everything through
Oh,
really clear.
it's so uncomfortable.
So I was thinking, like, what if they put this in like a public spot where it's like, and there's a timer.
Sounds like a Japanese game show.
It's like you have 2 minutes to do your business.
And if
And
you're
that's a
not-
way to like prevent people maybe from like spending too much time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like you cannot turn the light back on or the walls back on until the door's been open for 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, I would want to know like the technology behind that, because that seems like something that is suspect, like could be suspect real quick.
Well, they have it for like windows and
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a lot of
okay.
yeah, there's a lot of windows that I've seen that I don't know if it's like an electrical current that
It
goes
is.
through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
That, yeah.
When it passes through, it's clear, and when it's off,
Oh, okay.
it actually turns that color. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
interesting. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of a funny idea.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
it. You got a funny article though, you're saying?
Oh, I just had a funny video, and I don't know why I thought this was funny. It probably falls into the category of could be funny for some people and could be really dumb for most people. But I saw it. And
I've seen this.
Yeah.
So good.
So it's
Good old Reddit.
yeah. This guy just is cutting butter, and I love butter. Well, I
Butter.
Yeah, my butter shirt and everything. But just listen. I love that Jeff's seen it.
It's so good.
So it's a guy. He's
Yep.
opening a bag of butter, and he's putting it on a cutting board.
It might be cheese.
Oh, it might be cheese?
Oh, it is cheese.
Oh, okay. So this is his own lips making noise. He's sawing the block of cheese with a knife, making that sound. And essentially it's his imaginary chainsaw. That's hilarious.
This is really good.
I love it. I'm like, why am I not that creative?
Okay. Well,
Great
I
question.
could tell that Jeff and I loved it, and you were like, I don't understand why you even brought this. Like,
Someone came prepared.
have you? Okay, so I posted this on our Instagram too, but have you seen the pictures of Nicolas Cage's face being put onto Ross from Friends?
So disturbing.
yeah, I didn't.
And it makes him look more like Ross
Yeah,
than before.
I don't know if I saw it. No, I did see it, but I don't think I looked in it in enough detail to like be.
I don't know if this one has a side by side. It doesn't.
Okay, so that has.
This is him.
That's Ross. That's the real Ross, or is that Nicolas Cage?
That
face?
has Nicolas Cage's face on it.
Oh my gosh,
Right.
that's amazing. So
It just makes him look.
what's an original? Do you have an original?
I don't. Well, I might, but here, take that off for a second.
That's
and,
interesting.
um,
So ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Cage essentially has Roth. Is it Ross or Roth?
Ross.
Ross.
R-O-S-S.
R-O-S-S. Like
Okay,
Ross,
he has
dress for
Ross's
less.
face. Oh yeah. Dun, 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 dun. That was really funny because for a second there I thought, Jeff, you were just randomly having a clapping
Clapping fit.
fit.
Oh
I was
man.
all right.
So originally,
Learned something about Jeff today. He has clapping seizures.
Yeah. I smell toast and I clap randomly.
Yeah.
I don't dream. There you
And
go.
he doesn't dream, poor guy. And no cheese for him.
No cheese.
Poor guy.
I can have
Yeah.
mozzarella. I just can't have hard cheddar and stuff like that.
Okay. No sharp
Yeah.
cheddar.
I went off it for a few weeks and realized how much I was sensitive to it, but I still like it.
I love cheese.
Yeah.
But-
It is good. I'd forgotten that you did that. Have you've been off it for a while then?
For a couple months, yeah. I couldn't tell you when it started.
Okay.
But December, November, something like that.
And you feel like you have improved gastrointestinal relations then?
Yeah, absolutely. My poop doesn't stink as much anymore.
What?
It's crazy, and
That's good.
I don't.
So it
I don't-
passes the smell test.
It does, and I don't
Yes.
fart as much. So,
All
And
right.
you know it's you. So
and I know it's me. Got a tight sphincter.
Yeah.
kind of
Do you guys ever have that time when you're not sure if it's you or not? Nope.
No, like
I'm serious. Like
Test sample of
it's usually
3, you were the odd man out.
it's usually when it's like in bed and you're watching a good strong documentary and you're like really in it, and all of a sudden you waft something new and you're like, okay, I think that could have been me, but babe. The question does not need to be asked, but it frequently is.
Maybe you're just like, yeah, maybe that wasn't me.
maybe it's just your feet.
Mm-mm.
No, I
No.
got such long. My
That's
legs are
true.
so long that I frequently they're far away from me. To not
So I'll be honest, where I thought you were going with the whole peeing thing
yeah.
was occasionally Curtis and I will watch movies in VR, and I'm at my house, and he's at his house,
Yeah.
and his is wireless, so he can go to the bathroom, and his avatar still like starts like
turning around,
spinning around really weird. And there was
Oh,
this
that's so amazing.
there was this one night where I
So
was like,
amazing.
I turned and I looked at him in
facing
VR,
backwards.
just kind of hard to imagine, but I looked at him, I'm like, what are you doing?
He can see my avatar. We're in like a theater together.
Yeah, and I look, I'm like, what are you doing? And then I could hear him start peeing, and I'm like, are you in the bathroom right now? Like, you're in the bathroom right now. You're like, why?
What do you ask?
So
You gotta
good.
go. You gotta go, man.
Oh yeah,
It's true.
And it's like, yeah, well, technically, I'm in my house and there's no one else around me, so let it fly. I am not gonna let that happen to me in my dream. So I'm gonna make sure it happens.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
in the
I
moment.
thought that's where you were gonna go with that, like
Okay.
In real virtual life.
Yeah, real virtual life.
real
Yeah.
virtual life. Yeah, that's not dreams. or something.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
All right, man. I don't have anything else.
Nope, that's it here too, man.
So
Jeff, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Good in the hood. Awesome.
awesome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to subscribe to Testing Normal on Instagram, Facebook, and we're on Spotify as well. But follow us, rate us, let us know what you think.
Yeah, give us a like. We prefer the video side of things, but we understand people have cars, and that's
Totally.
not safe. So we're not advocating that you sit and watch us on YouTube in your car.
Yeah,
Um,
but definitely do it at work. It's a good place to.
But
If you work, you should just be watching YouTube.
The
that's,
entire
So
that's what everyone else
so
is
feel
doing.
free to watch us on YouTube
Um,
as well.
But to that, like we're bouncing around the idea of actually streaming this live while we record. So that
Yeah.
could be if you subscribe on there and get notifications, you might be
Totally.
able to catch us going
Live
there.
streaming. Yeah.
Most of the time it's on Monday, so a lot of people it probably wouldn't work. But
Some Sundays maybe.
today's a Sunday, so
Yeah.
you never know.
Never know.
So
That's true.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
anyway, with that.
Peace out.
Thanks for having me.